It's 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm lying in my bed in my college dorm in Boston on a Saturday night in one of the worst mental states of my life.
Hi, I'm Dylan Minette, and I play Clay Jensen.
I'm Catherine Langford, and I play Hannah Baker.
I'm Justin Prentice.
I don't just feel like crap because the winter season had me in a gloomy mood, or my girlfriend just dumped me. But also because I've just binge-watched 13 Reasons Why. 13 Reasons Why seemed like a project with a lot of hope behind it. At the time that it released, I wasn't in the best mental state up at college, so the idea that I could watch something that kind of tackled that idea and maybe made me feel a little bit at peace with how I was feeling about myself seemed like a really cool idea. This was amazing to me that this project could kind of be a beacon of light towards teens that didn't really understand that what they were going through during high school was maybe, mental illness issues or mental health issues, and this could be something they could go to start a conversation or to even be informed. But of course, in reality, that was pretty far from the case. I know I'm pretty late to the party with this, but 13 Reasons Why as a series really annoyed me. In a couple of things it did really pissed me off. So today I really want to look at what 13 Reasons Why did to not only just completely mess up how it handles its topics of mental illness, but actually how it was almost dangerous to its fan base that it's targeting. I think the biggest problem I had with this series was that it doesn't know what it is. It doesn't know how to define itself. You see, the book, on one hand, was actually, it was fictional. It was a fictional novel that, it was the same story. I shouldn't really have to describe the plot, but I'll take this time now to describe the plot of it. It's about this girl named Hannah Baker, who is friends with the protagonist Clay Jensen, who kind of had he had a crush on her. And Hannah was kind of going through a lot through high school. She was a target. She was called slut. The jock of the high school leaked a suggestive photo of her, which was really just her going down a slide. It really didn't prove anything that they hooked up or anything. And it got really bad where one of the guys even raped her in the high school. That's literally what happens. And that's what drives her to kill herself. And she leaves behind 13 tapes, which kind of act as, I don't know what they act as, and this is the problem, it's revenge tapes, and they kind of detail what happened to her, and they detail her story. And this is where the show gets unbalanced, because they have to take the fictionality of the story and the reality of the stuff they're trying to deal with and mash it into one. And the problem with that is when they're saying, oh, we're very serious about combating mental health, we're very mental health aware, their show doesn't portray mental health and mental illness issues in the correct light. And that's because it's fictional. You know what I mean? It's a fictional plot. So when they're coming out with a show that claims to be 100% accurate and is like, oh, we're super serious about, dealing with mental health and providing mental health awareness, you can't do it in the right way because you have to tell the story as it's written in the novel. You can deviate from it, that's, what an adaptation is, but ultimately it is a fictional story. And another thing they have to do is they have to decide what is the motive behind the show. What are you trying to do with it? Are you trying to, tell a fictional story? Are you trying to actually combat mental health issues and provide mental health awareness? Decide how to market your show. Consistently market your show. Be consistent about it. Take a direction and stick with it. 13 Reasons Why should have been a movie. The experience that Clay Jensen goes through listening to these tapes, it takes him a really long time to do this. In the books, it's like one night. In the show, it's like 2 to 3 weeks. So what you're looking through is a 2 to 3 week story time that feels like it takes 2 to 3 weeks to finish. because each episode is about an hour. I mean, listening to these tapes for that long drives Clay pretty crazy. He loses it. So why would you want to put your viewers through the same thing? If you're trying to reach a target audience of impressionable teens and people who are actually already mentally exhausted with life and on shaky grounds already, why would you put them through that? Why would you put them through a grueling, there's 13-hour experience pretty much, because each episode's an hour, and then at the end of that, show them a suicide? What's the thinking behind that? Who decided that? I really want to know. If you had made it a movie, you would have been able to trim it down to about 2 hours. What that's going to do is it's going to let you better translate to the format of the novel. It's going to make the experience a lot less exhausting, first of all. And everyone knows series on Netflix are binged. They are straight up binged. So, I mean, knowing this, I feel like either they wouldn't make the series as long, because it really just feels like they're milking it out, is stretching it as far as they possibly can. Condense it as much as possible, and then you can really get the quality bits of the story in there. And not just have, and I'll talk about this later, not that great dialogue, scenes that aren't necessary, that just kind of pad for time, scenes that cater to, fanfic audiences who just want characters to interact, which mainly happens in season 2. Overall, it should have just straight up been a movie. Before I start with the negative, I want to point out one thing. Tony's character being gay, it wasn't shoved in your face. I thought they handled that very, very well. He has other characteristics about him that don't just define him as the gay character. He's a human being. He is the mentor character alongside Clay. Albeit not the greatest mentor, but he is that character. He's tough. He's a protective sibling. He's really into cars. He's got this old car, so he has things that define him. But in season 1, they try and push him as this amazing best friend to Clay, and this mentor who always knows what to say, and this friend who's going to be there with him as he listens to these horrific tapes and really be that hero. But Tony's the only reason that Clay has to listen to the tapes in the first place. Instead of doing what any person should do and go to the police with the tapes, Tony decides he's going to take the law into his own hands. And I get it, it's because it's what Hannah would have wanted, and this was Hannah's last wish, and he owes her. But come on, you really want me to sympathize with a character like that? And to understand a character, and to like a character like that? He puts Clay through this torture that, that nearly drives the kid to join Hannah in her fate. And we're supposed to like this guy. And even after that, he's still like, you gotta listen, Clay, you gotta listen to the tapes, I'm here for you, but I'm gonna make you listen to the most excruciating torture for 2 to 3 weeks. Granted, Clay could just man up and watch it in one night, like everyone else did, but he doesn't do it. So, I think a lot, and I don't want to make this as throwing shade on the actor. The actor that played Tony, I actually think he did a good job with what he had. So this isn't blaming the actor at all. This is blaming the writing and the story crafting. I don't believe Tony was actually a character in the original novel, so this is a completely crafted character by the show. I just think, he has this arc at the end of the show where he's like, I can't keep these tapes a secret, it's not right. Her parents have to know about it, the law has to know about it, because there's actual crimes that take place in these tapes. What was he gonna do? He probably would have just hid them away forever. You know how much evidence was in those tapes? It's amazing how much damage Tony does by keeping onto these tapes. And that's what annoys me about Tony a little bit, is that he's not this amazing best friend character that the show tries to make him to be. He really isn't that helpful. The voiceovers, while they made sense in season 1 with Hannah, the tapes, and their voiceover, in season 2, they don't. They just don't have a place in season 2. I felt that most of the time I was just tuning them out. I wasn't really listening to them. I think they really just sort of focused on showing those in the court. They were trying to keep it the theme of season 1, I guess, to have their own identity. And I just don't think that was the way to go. I think there should have really not been any voiceovers. Maybe, if anything, do voiceovers with Clay or something, but even then I would have said no. And most of the voiceovers from the court was just kind of like the show's morals being like gibberished out. So yeah, I just tuned that out. Didn't really listen to it most of the time. Was just kind of confused as to why it was there. Yeah. I don't think I should have to say this one, but I think if I make a video criticizing 13 Reasons Why it should be there. Hannah's death scene. No. I don't understand how they can talk to so many mental health experts who specifically told them, advised them not to do this. From what I've heard and from what I've, seen online, they've gone to people who, and like mental health experts advise people to not do this. And they just did it anyways. They really didn't care. So to say that you're taking all this care to show mental health awareness and to really tackle and accurately portray mental illness and to help teens, why would you do something that experts are telling you is dangerous? It doesn't show care for crafting your show. It shows that you're more focused on drama and building drama for your audience than you are with the topic you're handling. And like, I get that, but the problem with that is they claim to do the opposite, so that's what makes it so big of a problem. Yeah, season 2 was not good. I didn't really know how else to name this section other than everything about season 2, because I didn't enjoy it. Why is Hannah there? Honestly, it's never explained what she is. It never really makes sense as to why she's there. They try to explain it as like, oh, Clay is going crazy, he's hearing voices, it's his conscience, but I don't know. I don't get it.
Yeah, well, maybe you don't get to say anymore. People did terrible things to you, and they're getting away with it. You left those tapes for a reason.
What reason?
What reason? What do you mean, what reason? Why are you asking him? You're the one who made the tapes, Hannah! Like, maybe they were trying to keep Hannah in because the show's literally about Hannah. I don't know how you can make 13 Reasons Why without Hannah Baker. But shouldn't have been there. Why are Clay and Sky dating? Why is this a thing? I don't think you had to go there. I think it was very predictable that you went there. Why are certain characters like Courtney Crimson pulled from the story entirely? I feel like they were barely there. And then they're just kind of thrown in at the end like everyone's best friends. Why does the show literally display Clay approaching an active shooter while they're at the dance? When, if you look at Behind the Reasons, the after show, which is like the talk show after the show, I think in the first like 5 minutes, a mental health expert literally tells audiences, this is something you should explicitly not do, with the head writer sitting right there.
What Clay did was actually really dangerous.
So yeah, the safest choice would have been to go behind the doors and lock himself in with the rest of the kids and help everybody get to safety, to hide in closets or behind objects and make sure that someone is called 911. Certainly we would never advise anyone who's exposed to an active shooter to confront them, even if it's a loved one.
Why, despite all the backlash and criticism from season 1, and the fact that this literally derailed the show and caused most of its controversy, why in the world, why would they still try and go for shock value? Why, in season 2, would they have a scene where Tyler is in the bathroom and literally gets sodomized with a broom, and it's shown graphically, this very graphically. Like, I don't think I could watch it. Why would you do this? It makes, like, this was your biggest point of criticism in season 1. All you had to do was stay away from that, and you did for most of the season. But it's clear that this show just relies on shock value for drama. I just really want to know who approved that, and they thought that it was a good idea to show this on a teenage, impressionable audience. Yeah. I'm speechless. I don't know what else to say. This is something you probably will notice. If you didn't notice it the first watch through, go back and look again and like take in mind the points I'm about to make, and I think you'll notice what I'm talking about. the show is not very well written at all. Just as far as writing goes, it's not very well written. The fact that in the first scene of season 1, a teenager says, #never forget. Yeah, teens don't talk like that. You know, there's something I've kind of seen in media where people write teens like they're kind of just these fictional beings, like they're not humans, like, you know, like we talk, we use words, like teenagers, I shouldn't say we because I'm 21, but teenagers do that, you know, they talk like other people, they're not stupid, they're not like, OMG, like they don't talk like that. My biggest pet peeve is that when characters have disagreements or arguments, instead of having them have like, you know, really heated arguments with like these prolonged monologues that really that really subtly but like effectively hammer the message of the show through, they don't really have that. Instead, the characters respond with like, fuck you, or fuck off, or you're a piece of shit, or you son of a bitch. Yeah, they just kind of default to cursing. And like, I get teens curse a lot, you know, when they're alone, but like, I don't know, I expect something that's supposed to be a quality show to have better. Like, you can have a good monologue that has cursing in it, but when it's just overused and like completely oversaturated, it makes me laugh.
Oh, tell me why you care.
Jess, let's go.
Tell me why you fucking care.
Because he fucking raped you. I'm not your fucking brother. Stop. No. Get out of my way. I should fucking kill you, you son of a bitch. I'll fucking kill you. Let me fucking know.
They just go, well, you know what? Fuck you, and walk off. The way that they sexualize characters in season 2 is just weird. There's a lot of things that invalidate the plot, like, this is gonna spoil something in the plot. I don't know if you're actually gonna... If you haven't seen season 2, and you want to, don't listen to this part. Hannah and Zach apparently hook up. Apparently at some point in the summer before she commits suicide, I think it was, Hannah and Zach they lose their virginity to each other over the summer. And they have sex, like, a lot. Like, it's shown, like, all summer they are hooking up, and they're, like, really happy, both of them. And I just don't think this fits with the timeline. I think if you look at season 1 and you see the state that Hannah Baker was in during that summer, it doesn't fit that this would be going on. Like, I get that, like, it's okay to have, like, sexual scenes in this show, like, that's not a problem. The problem is, like, there's no way this could have passed under everyone's radar. Look at them! They're clearly out in public! They're out at an ice cream shop! This is a very big thing that actually, I think would have upset Hannah a lot in the state she was in. This was towards the end of her life. So the fact that this wasn't even hinted at in the tapes, yeah, I don't see it. It's clear that there's, like, you know, Hannah and Zach, you know, people say, like, oh, I ship Hannah and Zach, they're so cute, so they wanted to, you know, cater to fans, and so they included this. And, like, I get catering to fans, but sometimes you just can't do it. It doesn't fit with the story, and it actually makes the story a bit worse. So you have to do what's in the best interest for the story, and this just wasn't it. So I don't want this video to come out as like an angry rant. I mean, it already kind of is, but it is an angry rant towards the writers. I think that this show had a lot of potential. I just think that, and I don't mean this as like to be mean or anything, but they're just not able to handle this topic. Like, they go to mental health experts and like people who like say and claim that, you know, you shouldn't do this, this, and this, and then they do this, this, and this in the show. It doesn't make sense to me. Like, why would you even bother reaching out to these people? I get it as a gesture of good faith, but you gotta take more care in the show. And I think that they might not be able to do it. And you can make the argument that these people, they're not in the mental health field, they're writers, so they don't 100% know what they're dealing with. That doesn't excuse it. You shouldn't 100% know, but you should, if you claim to take as much care as you're claiming that you do on this topic, then you shouldn't accept the quality that the show is at right now. You should be wanting to go for more. You should be taking better care. You should, and how you write this stuff, you would show a lot more I don't want to say class because it's not like they weren't showing class. But you got to do better than this. You need to start doing what these mental health experts say you should be doing. And you need to sit down, like really sit down and have a conversation about how do you want to take this show? And you need to market this effectively. You need to be 100% stick to it with how you're going to market this show. Is this going to be rooted mainly in reality, or is this going to be fictional? The sooner you decide that, the sooner we can move on to season 3 and we can all be happy. Because again, I want this show to go into the right direction. That's going to wrap up my very long-winded explanation of the reasons why I think 13 Reasons Why really failed, how it can be dangerous and where it can do better. This is meant as feedback. I didn't really want to be too angry in this video and be screaming at the camera, but sometimes I get heated. Thank you for watching Nonsensical Cinemas. This is my first episode in a while, my god. I'm going to write my next episode, which is going to be Nonsensical Talks video about, I believe it's 3 billboards outside Ebbing, Missouri, so watch out for that. And thanks for watching this video. Leave your feedback in the comments, like or dislike, whatever you want to do. Tune in next time. I'll see you later. Bye.